Yo, what is up guys? Welcome back to another video on Marley Nation TV, and today Moto vlog number 2 is going to be a little different than what I was expecting. Obviously I had told you before that I was going to be doing a special video with friends and we were going to have a new bike and it was going to be fun, blah blah blah. Well, those plans didn't come to fruition, so I have a new idea, a new video for today. And I'm going to be exploring an abandoned hoarder's yard. So I'm going to give you the backstory on all this, but if you like these moto vlogs, which I'm going to try to start producing more often throughout for the next couple months, like and subscribe because things are going to get pretty interesting, hopefully. So basically, here's the story. So next to me, we used to have a hoarder live there. And they lived there for a long time, and they had a big huge warehouse. Basically, that's kind of where they lived in. It wasn't really a normal house, it was a big warehouse thing, and they lived in there, and they had trash and tons of stuff all over the yard. They'd go to the dump or the recycling center, just pick up tons and tons and tons of trash and other random metals, cars, and bring it back to their house and try to resell the stuff. And they did this for a while. There was like 20 cars at one time. There was tons and tons of trash. There was huge high electric fence surrounding the property before. Many no trespassing signs. And it was no one really knew what was going on over there, the true story. And this was probably a long time ago, but after the guy passed away, the house and property went up for sale, and basically nobody wanted it because you had to uplift the whole property and it was expensive. So nobody ended up buying it, but the state did. The state went and they bought it, and they converted it into their own land. What they did, they completely demolished the house, took it down, and took probably 75% of the garbage away. And if you were just passing by, you wouldn't really know that there's anything there because it's just empty. You wouldn't really know. There's very few people that really know the true story of what's going on over there. But basically, they tore the whole house down and took away 75% of the garbage. And what's weird about it is the house was bought out by the state probably in around 2001, and the property was up for sale for like 5 years or something. I think it went up for sale in 1995, I believe, and then no one ever touched it. And they're still, to this day, 19 years later after being bought, 25% of the hoarder stuff is still there. And there's some pretty interesting stuff there, which I'm not going to spoil for you because it's pretty interesting, honestly. And I found out all these details, and I also found all this stuff at the property by myself. I was exploring over there one day, a couple years ago, and I saw this. So basically, what I'm doing today is I'm going over there and I'm going to explore. And I'm going to show you guys what's over there. And if you like these exploration videos, hit the thumbs up and I'll do more of these, because I have more interesting things to talk about. So basically, guys, we're going to be going over there today. And I'm not going to ride my I'm going to leave my dirt bike I'm going to leave it on my property and walk over there because I don't know the situation over there. The trails are kind of messy and I don't exactly know if there's any working trails, so I don't want to get stuck. But as you may notice as well, many weeds and stuff are coming in, and there's more coverage now, so it's not like people are gonna see you or anything, so it's not a big deal. I mean, it's public property, but no one goes over there because it's not really that good. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a dump, and to be completely honest, it's a unique part of the nature. abandoned 19 years ago, you could say, because there's so much crap left over. So, as you can see, we had the stream over here. Now, there used to be probably a couple signs up on the property from the owner, and I took those down probably a couple years ago and saved them and put them up as my own signs. But the property is really cool because it's in the middle of nowhere, but you can tell, you wouldn't really be able to tell that someone's been here, but you can tell no one's been here for years. This property was abandoned years ago, bought out by the state, and now it just sits here. And there's probably so much more that I could find if I had a metal detector. I'd love to get one. I've done some digging over here and I found a truck, literally a truck mirror. I found pipes, I found some of the weirdest stuff. Like over here, you can see groups of rocks over here. This is where it starts. You have the different groups of rocks that were placed over here. You're like, well, okay, it's not that much, this is just a start. Come over here, you got that. You can kind of see no one's been over here. What's... Oh, I think that's Joe's tea. Don't worry about that. Thought that was something interesting, it wasn't, but basically the first thing I'm going to be looking at is probably the best thing over here and the most interesting, but you'll see when I get to it. I don't want to spoil it, but it's a very cool thing to have over here, and obviously I can't move it or anything. It's big and it's a classic antique. As you can see, it's also relatively dangerous over here. Many dead trees, stuff, you have to be careful, but it's the right huge swamp. So anything that's back here usually gets hidden away. But I know right now you don't really see anything. Stuff's really covered up right now. If it was fall still, you could see it perfectly from a mile away. But the first thing coming up, as you should be able to see as I approach, is an antique truck that's been sitting here for probably 50 years or longer. And I don't know if you can tell, it's walking over here, it's kind of windy right now. You got an eerie breeze going. But you can see this was the yard at one time of the hoarders. Most of the stuff's been taken away. There used to be probably around 20 vehicles, tons and tons and tons of garbage just piled around. And as we come over here, you can see we got different parts, different heavy, really heavy metal parts. You can see them, they're buried because they've been here for 30 years without being touched. And we come to the truck, multiple trees have fallen, but they've all missed the truck. That tree, standing up, those trees, missed it. But as you can see, it's obviously old, decapacitated, but still pretty cool to look at. You got the whole thing's parted out. You got all the different parts. We got the seat over here, which is really fun to bounce on with the springs. But you can come and you can kind of see it's been sitting here for years. The tires are all damaged and it's just kind of been sitting here rotting away. Very unfortunate, but you got this, the whole thing's just huge parts and stuff. It's definitely been damaged, it's taken weathered, but I believe it's a Plymouth truck. Might be somewhere in 1950s, 1960s. It's been sitting here for years. So that's probably the biggest, best thing you're going to see out of all the stuff. But as you can see, it looks like over here, this more wood to the left, some bricks. I've seen some pretty weird things over here. A lot of bricks left over here. A lot of bars. Nothing really interesting that I've been able to find. rock. There's this random pipe hole over here. It goes way down. Not exactly sure what that's for. But you can see an old sign that used to be there that fell off years ago. There tends to be a lot of trash. This is a wire that goes to something. Don't know where it goes. That looks to be a case for something. But as you can see, that's the main open area over there. And then there's this big thing over here with that thing that was there. Fairbanks, capacity 1,000 pounds, made in the USA. I have no clue what this is. If anybody knows what this is, please let me know, because I've wondered. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but it's just sitting here, and it's wicked heavy, so you could never move it. A lot of this stuff is here because they didn't see it, or they couldn't move it. Here, looks like hundreds and hundreds of pounds of chains. Just sitting there. As you can see, deer poop. There's deer over here. There's a lot of animals that come over here. At night, very scary over here. Now, I'm not making it sound like, you know, oh, it's nighttime, blah, blah, blah. It's going to be scary. But, like, there's a lot of animals over here, so it's not the best to come over here at night. But, look, you can see a stack of bricks, broken glass, shattered over here. There's like a ring hoop thingy over there inside that tree. That's right, that was stuck inside that tree and I couldn't get it out. It's really embedded into the tree. If you look closely, that branch was cut off many, many, many years ago. You can tell that it was cut off. See, heavy, more wood. A lot of this stuff is just rotted. Look at this. Right here, like, what's that? I don't even want to know what's in there. The stuff that's over here, like a bucket. A can of Planters peanuts. That looks to be probably 30, 40 years old, and there's 10,000 fire ants in there. Hope they didn't get on my shoes. Look, like, that's a shoe. A shoe left in the ground. And obviously, you probably don't think this is very interesting, but it's kind of interesting to see just an old hoarder's yard just sitting here to rot. Stuff that they never picked up. And will probably never be picked up. Just sit here forever. Random bricks. Just sitting around. If you dig in the dirt or brought a metals detector over here, I can guarantee you're gonna find weird stuff. Like, look, plaid, plastic. Pipe thingy over here. And this is the smaller stuff, but I'll bring you to some more interesting stuff. Now, you're not gonna believe. I mean, is this a well? Or what? I don't know. Another big, like, thing for a machine. And I found all this stuff one day while exploring because I had never been over here before. And the drawer / microwave thingy. You got some frames over there. And it's very cool to see all this stuff just sit here and rot. Old-fashioned lawnmowers. sitting here, never to be touched again, rotting away in the woods, in a place you wouldn't expect it. You can kind of see, looking at an aerial view, you don't recognize it. You actually have to look for it now with all this stuff. Like, look at the size of this tree. This tree's ginormous. That whole thing's dead. That thing's coming down soon. Here's the trailer. And another whole lawnmower. A completely decapitated trailer falling apart. It was probably good 30 years ago, but it's just rotted away. And that, I mean, who knows how old that thing is. And you got this right here. This is for like a tractor or something. Clark's Outlaw, or Outaway, or Cutaway, sorry. Clark's Cutaway? If anybody knows that, what that is, feel free to let me know. Another thing over there, a rod. Sticking up for something. The wood's dead. More ants, jeez. P166. And as we come out here, the stuff becomes less and less. But there's a few more things out here that I'll show you. So over here, we've got huge engines and axles sitting here for 40 years that will probably never be moved again because they're so freaking heavy. They couldn't move them out of here. Ginormous. And look at the size of these things. Huge. I don't even know how the guy got them over here in the first place, to be completely honest. You look over there. There's more of them. You can kind of see literal propane tank in the middle of the woods. Another huge engine. Basically some trash and random items on there for years. Like, it's been there for over 20 years. Most of that stuff, at least, just sat there for 20 years. And I doubt that it will ever be taken away. And it's really cool to see all this old stuff. And you know, if maybe one day I could get a metal detector, just go over there and see what the heck you could find in the dirt. There's probably some stuff I may not want to find, but it's all part of the exploring process. But I hope you guys enjoyed the exploration of the abandoned Hoarders property. Obviously, it's nothing crazy, but it's something. It's not like anything really cool like a mansion or anything. There's no house there anymore. If there was still a house there, obviously it would be, I'd probably fall through the floor because the house is so decapitated, but it's not there. But it's still cool to see the remnants of what was there many years ago. And I've tried, but I haven't been able to find any pictures of what the house looked like or the property. The only thing I've been able to find is let's see, I've been able to find some overview pictures from 1990. Overview of just like, it's like brown and white. An overview of what the property looked like. And it doesn't really give much information because it's just brown and white picture. It's nothing like today's Google Earth. So all I can see is that there was a building there, like I've described, the warehouse. But you can't see any of the hoarder stuff that was once there. So there's not much you can do, because what's cool about this is basically it's a throwback. All of the stuff that's there, besides some of the trash of when people have been over there, is old 70s, 80s, 90s, 60s. A lot of that stuff's all old stuff that you don't find in more newly recently abandoned properties. So I hope you guys enjoyed this interesting video of me exploring a very cool little thing of just an abandoned yard. Obviously, it's like I've said 50 times, it's nothing crazy, but it's something interesting to look at, because it's just cool to see. It's history. Summing up in one word, it's history. It's a landmark that's going to sit there probably forever. The remnants of a hoarder's yard and land. And it's pretty interesting to see and go through and look at all that stuff and be like what I found, an old Planters can from 1970. Like, oh wow, Planters peanuts, you know, like, wow, that's kind of cool to see an old can. Oh, I can see a 1970 shoe, that's kind of cool. You know, it's nothing crazy like an abandoned house, but it's something. It's got some historical significance. But today's video is a little different, and I know during the coronavirus there's not much to do. Can't really hang out with people as much, so videos are kind of limited. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little exploration video, and if you guys want more of these exploration videos with different things, I have more to give. So if you like these videos, like and subscribe.